To begin, remove the front wheel from the vehicle. Detach the end link from the rear bracket by removing the single end link nut. Remove the 2 bolts holding the caliper to the hub and remove it from the brake rotor. Be sure to secure the brake caliper out of the way so that it is not hanging from the brake and sensor lines. Remove the nut holding the steering linkage to the vehicle's hub. Using a pickle fork or similar tool, remove the ball joint from the hub. Remove the single bolt holding the lower strut body to the pinch mount of the hub. Under the hood, remove the 3 nuts holding the top mount to the strut tower and lower the suspension down slowly. With the suspension lowered, you can tilt the top of the strut out of the wheel well and wiggle the strut free from the pinch mount. It may be required to use a strut spreader tool to spread the hub enough to free the strut. Using spring compressors, remove the top nut holding the top mount to the spring. Place the upper strut mount onto the Raceland coilover, ensuring the Raceland washer is on the top hat, and secure it with the supplied nut. Slide the Raceland coilover into the vehicle's pinch mount and tilt the coilover into the wheel well. Align the top mount studs into position and secure the mount to the strut tower with the factory hardware. With the hub fully seated onto the coilover, reinstall the pinch bolt with the sensor line bracket in place. Reinstall the steering linkage to the hub with the factory nut. Slide the caliper onto the rotor and secure it with the 2 bolts on the backside of the caliper. Reattach the end link to the bracket on the backside of the strut. You can now reinstall the front wheel as the installation for this corner is complete. To begin the rear, remove the wheel from the vehicle. In the back seat of the vehicle, remove the 3 headrests by firmly pulling up and away from the parcel shelf. Pry the rear side cabin light from the C-pillar and disconnect the wiring. Remove the 2 bolts holding the upper part of the pillar panel. Pull the top of the pillar panel and slide the panel forward to remove. Lift up on the front portion of the rear seat base cushion and pull forward to remove it from the vehicle. Remove the bolt on each side of the rear seat backrest located near the outside seat belts. Lift up on the seat backrest and slide the cushion out of the rear of the vehicle. Each seat belt will be held to the base of the rear seat by a single bolt. Remove each bolt to free the bottom of each seat belt. Remove the plastic covers and bolts from each child safety anchor. Remove the 4 Allen bolts holding the center headrest mount to the body. Remove the 4 plastic trim pieces holding the forward part of the parcel shelf to the vehicle. Each seat belt will need to slide under the parcel shelf. To do so, pry the bottom of the seat belt plastic trim and then pull forward. Once removed, slide each trim and seat belt under the parcel shelf. You can now pull the parcel shelf forward and remove it from the vehicle. Unclip each speaker's wiring at the front of the speaker boxes. Remove the 2 Phillips head screws from the front of each speaker. Lift up on the front of the speaker and pull forward to remove. Pull back the sound insulator covering and you will now have access to the rear strut mount. Remove the 3 bolts holding the mount to the strut tower. You will need to remove the fender liner from each wheel well. There will be several bolts and clips. Once removed, the fender liner can be pulled out of the wheel well. Remove the bolt holding the lower strut bushing to the hub. On the driver's side, pull the lines leading to the evaporator tank from the clips against the body. Remove the nut at the front of the evaporation tank and pull forward to loosen the tank from the mounting brackets. It will not be necessary to completely remove this from the vehicle. On the passenger side, remove the vehicle's gas cap and plug the gas nozzle to ensure you do not spill gas when removing. In the wheel well, remove the 2 bolts holding the gas hose to the body of the vehicle. You will now carefully pull down on the gas hose to pull it into the wheel well. You will not need to remove this section completely, but free it enough to remove the strut. You can now remove the strut from the vehicle. Using spring compressors, remove the top nut holding the top mount to the spring. Place the lower factory retaining washer onto the Raceland coilover, followed by the OEM upper strut mount. Place the upper retaining washer onto the top mount and secure it with the supplied nut. Slide the coilover into position in the shock tower by aligning the top mount studs and place the lower shock bushing into its position in the hub. On the driver's side, slide the expansion tank back onto the mounting brackets at the back side of the tank and reinstall the nut to secure the tank to the body of the vehicle. Clip the tank lines back onto their bracket mounted on the body. On the passenger side, slide the gas hose and nozzle back into position and secure it with the 2 factory nuts. Remove the rag from the gas nozzle and reattach the gas cap. Bolt the lower coilover bushing to the rear hub with the factory bolt. Lift the hub so that the top mount studs align with their place in the shock tower and reattach with the 3 top mount nuts. Slide the back of the speakers into place on the mounting tabs and reinstall the 2 Phillips head screws. Clip the speaker wires back into the connector on the speaker. Slide the rear parcel shelf back into place, ensuring that the rear is properly seated against the upper trunk and rear window. You can now pull the seatbelt and seatbelt plastic covers back through their holes in the parcel shelf and clip the plastic belt covers into place. Clip the 4 parcel shelf clips back into place to secure the front of the parcel shelf. Place the middle headrest bracket onto the body and reattach it with the 4 Allen bolts. Reinstall the child safety anchors on the parcel shelf and clip the plastic covers back into place. Position the lower seatbelt mounting brackets back into place and tighten with the factory bolts securely. When doing so, ensure that the seatbelts are not twisted prior to bolting them in. Slide the C-pillar panel cover into place, making sure to feed the cabin light through the opening in the pillar. Secure the pillar cover with the 2 factory bolts. Clip the cabin light wiring back into the housing and clip the housing into place on the C-pillar. Slide the rear seat back cushion through the seat belts. Lift up on the cushion, slide down, and clip into the seat brackets against the body. Reinstall the 2 bolts on each side of the rear seat back. Place the lower seat cushion into place by sliding the rear portion in first and feeding through the seat belt receptacles. You will need to push down on the front of the cushion to engage the front seat clips. Place the rear seat headrest back into place until they click. Reinstall the fender liner with the associated mounting hardware. You can now reinstall the rear wheel as the installation for this corner is complete.